And welcome to another episode of Leyendas production. It is your boy, and we have a really fun episode today. We're going to be doing a 2023 UFC fight card tier list. Now, I'm just going to focus on the main events, and maybe at the end I'll do some like honorable mentions and throw in some boxing fights here or there, but maybe I'll do the boxing one on its own. So let me know if you want me to do a boxing tier list for this year, because they've had a pretty hot year. And I don't know, I'm doing UFC in this one, and I thought it was kind of like, I don't know, I thought it was a little dry for the year, but then I'm looking back on it, and you know, it's been a whirlwind of a year, and it feels like a lot of stuff have, you know, from the, you'll see, we start from the very beginning, go all the way to the end, and it gets pretty, you know, to what we know today. So if there is video that I could post on here that I could use and I don't get demonetized or I don't get taken down for, I don't really care about being monetized, but I really don't want a striker against my channel. So yeah, fair warn, I will be doing that. And let me know what you think of the new mic. I'm using this wireless microphone instead. Maybe I should use it like this. I think this is a lot better. Wow, sorry about that. So, I don't know, it sounds better to me over here, making sure everything's ready to go. But yeah, let's start at the very tippity top. That's going to be January 21st. We have Glover versus Hill. So that would be UFC 283. And let's see, let's just get this set up over here. So we go. So we have Teixeira versus Hill as the main event for 283. What a crazy fight, right? We didn't expect for Glover to be stopped by Jamal Hill. And what was that? The second and the fifth round, 5 minutes. Yeah, that's what it's saying here, buddy. Yeah. And you know what was wild about that fight is that I think everyone underestimated Jamal Hill, kind of just like we always do. And then, you know, he just came out, pieced up Glover, and then he called it a day. Glover ended up retiring, which was crazy, you know. And then, you know, Jamal Hill was becoming champ by, you know, let's see, was this a vacant? Anyways, that was the main event. As a, I don't know if it was a co-main event. I think it was a co-main event. It was Figgy versus Brandon Moreno, which was a great fight where Moreno ends up winning the fight, in the third round. And I believe he ends up stopping Moreno. Moreno ends up stopping Figueiredo. Let's see. Difficulties, everyone. Hopefully this shit does not keep disconnecting, or else I'll have to move back to this shit over here. Yeah, man, I think for me, I am going to give this, I don't know. I think given the results and like it didn't really move the needle in terms of the UFC or anything like that, I might have to give this a B, boss. The retirement of Glover, and now with Pereira being the, you know, champ in the same division, I feel like, you know, light heavyweight right now might have a champ, but who knows how long he might stick around. And you know, as we move forward through the year with these cards, we're gonna be seeing that a lot more often. But yeah, I'm gonna give that a B for me. Now we're gonna move on to the next main event. That was 283, January 21st. Sheesh. The next one after that was UFC 284. Man, what a card that was. We had Makhachev versus Volkanovski 1, and that was leading the main event. And then we had Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett, which was I think it was a pretty good fight. Josh Emmett really had no chance. But the main event was fire, bro. That was one of the best UFC fights we've seen, I think. I've been constantly watching UFC maybe now for about 4 years, give or take a year or two. But 4 years definitely, like heavily. I've steered away from boxing a little more just because the fights have been a little ass, and I'm not gonna support a crooked ass sport like that. But you know, if it's a main event, I'm gonna watch it like a casual. But yeah, man, this was one of the most entertaining UFC fights you've ever seen, and they went 5 rounds, but it was a tight fight, and really it gave a lot of people a lot of material, a lot to talk about. Really, that's what I'm trying to say. It gave a lot of people a lot to talk about, and I feel like this could have been like, I don't know. I guess I feel bad because Volk got knocked out in the rematch, and I was backing Volk. It's not that I super dislike Makhachev. It's just that I like him. I like him in the sense of like I respect as he's taking challenges, but I like to see him face better opposition. But anyways, moving on, we have UFC 284, which was Makhachev versus Volk 1. Then we have Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett, and that was a pretty good fight, but I don't know, man. I feel like, let's see, let's get this right here. If you hear like in the background you're listening to cops and shit, that is because there is something going on, I guess, around here. But this is what I'm looking for here. Yeah, man, I think that was a good fight. The main event was a good fight. Yair versus Josh Emmett was a good fight. Madela, I don't really know. Tafa, as far as like the card goes, like deep in there, I thought it was kind of shallow, to be honest. The main event's really what made this card. All the other cards is just like, if you're like a hardcore fan, there was some decent fights. I saw most of these, I believe. Good fights. There was good fights under there. But I do have to say, that first fight was so good. But we're not just gonna judge it on one fight, So that is gonna go right here into A tier. We're gonna put that into A tier. Just because it didn't have depth, man. This was extremely top heavy. All the other people underneath it were just kind of meh. Tafa is fun to watch, I guess. But man, I don't know. But moving on. That was February 11th. There was about 13 main events, I believe. I could be wrong though. Someone fact check me on that. Leave a comment below. But we're moving on now to, let's see, March 4th, we have the return of Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane. Yeah, man. Bongamin, I was rooting for the guy. It's not that I don't like Jon Jones. I like Jon Jones, although has a questionable fucking outside of the ring trajectory. But I was pushing for Bongamin because I thought he was going to be like heavyweight 2.0. So where like all the striking, all of like footwork was going to be too much for Jones to handle, in the sense of, not that this would be the first time him fighting someone who's that skilled, right? Because he's fought skilled opposition. What I am saying is that you were kind of betting that Ciryl Gane could do what he does with Jon Jones in a sense, and the determining factor, what would change the outcome of the fight in this case against anyone else who fought Jon Jones, would be that this was Jon Jones' first fight at heavyweight, and that Ciryl Gane had formidable power. We've seen him not like, I don't think I've seen him put anyone dead to sleep, but it was one of those fights where he usually stops people with accumulation of power. He has really solid, I would say above average for like, maybe above average. Heavyweights is hard, man, because they're so big that they can like knock you out with like one punch. Any of those guys can't. There's so much weight behind that. But this was like a fight that only lasted 2 minutes. You guys remember that, right? You remember that. I don't think I could post that because the UFC hasn't posted it up, but that was the one where, you know, John Jones just walks in and headlocks homie, and that's it. That's all she wrote. But then underneath that, we have Shevchenko versus Alexa Mami Grasso, and that was also a good fight. Alexa won rear RNC, and you know, what a fight by Alexa Grasso. She really you know, I feel like she really caught Shevchenko off guard a little bit, and she really gave it to her. But you know, I thought that was a good fight. Neil, is it Gary Neal, right? Gary Neal versus Rachmanov, you know. I don't know. You don't come here for pronunciation, bro. Yeah, that was also a good fight. You know, another rear naked choke. That was also a good fight. So the top of the card were all chokes, by the way, which it's good to see, because you know it shows you that there is still value in, you know, strangling people in this sport. And then we had Gamrot versus Julian Turner. That was a good fight. That was also a good fight. Bo Nickel versus Pickett. That was also a good fight. And then in the prelims, that was Cody Garbrandt versus Jones. And then Derek Brunson. I believe that was Derek Brunson's last fight. I don't know if that was his last fight for the UFC. Okay, I'm not too sure. And then early prelims was headlined by Ian Gary. So you know, it's not like the entire day. There was some depth in this one. I want to say that because Gamrot recently put up a fucking great performance, and you know, Turner had an opportunity, but Gamrot, you know, he brings a fight. And then Rachmanov, you know, I think that's how you say it. I hope I'm not saying it too wrong. You know, he's on fire right now, and let's see, he's on 17-0, and I feel like he just pieced them up. He pieces everyone up, and he still got the choke. So, you know, he's always looking for that finish. And Alexa Grasso, you know, I don't know. I feel like I wanted more from the John Jones versus Gane fight. I know that's not on John Jones, but we're making a tier list here, aren't we? So, you know, I'm not easy like all the other girls. I am going to put UFC 285. I don't know. I am going to put UFC 285 also at the A list. Why? Because I feel like it just lacked a little bit. Just a little bit. It lacked a little bit. I want S tier to be like chef's kiss. That's what S tier means. It means super, right? Super. It doesn't mean like fucking like it was pretty good on my list. Pretty good. Probably get you a B. Pretty good. I don't know. John Jones versus Gane. I feel like it was definitely it was a good card because it was John Jones' return, and you know, like I said, there's some depth to the card. But still kind of only top heavy, man. Top heavy. There's no real names. You know, there's no. I mean, the women's division, that was fun, but like other than that, nothing really changed with this card. But we're moving right along from UFC. What was that? UFC 285. We're going all the way to UFC 286. So UFC 286, that was Usman versus Edwards 3, right? And that was when I believe Usman versus Edwards 3, Leon Edwards ends up just, you know, piecing up Kamaru Usman. I mean, you could say piecing up, right? He took what was that? It was the decision. It went all 5 rounds, and I believe Leon Edwards came with a game plan and, was able to stop Usman's, offense, specifically Usman's wrestling. He negated that very well. And, actually, Leon Edwards might be one of the upcoming videos, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think Leon Edwards handled Usman very well in the 3rd fight. I think he made the right adjustments when it came to the wrestling. And, his striking's always been top tier. That's why the fight versus Masvidal was one of the fights that a lot of people wanted to see and were interested in, not just because of the drama, but because Leon Edwards has very good striking. So, that would have been a great fight, but that was the main event. And then underneath that, we had Gaethje versus Fiziev. That was a pretty good fight. They went off all 3 rounds, and Gaethje just fucking destroyed Fiziev. Just destroyed that man. Justin Gaethje should be renamed the Blender. I don't know about the highlight reel. He should be the Blender, bro. It's like putting your hand in the blender is fighting that guy. And that's what makes Khabib's win over him even crazier. That like Khabib was like, yeah, bro, fuck this guy. I'm just gonna choke him out and then put him to sleep. The fact that he can even do that. But that was the fight underneath that. Then we had Gary Nelson versus Barberena. Damn, bro. Then Maia versus O'Neal, and then Vittori. I don't know, dog. I don't know. It was a good card. I had fun watching it. I mean, it was decent. This is how I'm going about rating it. Feels. There's no criteria. This is straight feels. This is straight Leyendas production feels, everyone. And you know what? I think this is gonna be C tier for me. C tier is not bad. C, D is passing. C is right above that. I wouldn't say it's terrible. It just means that improvements could have been made. That's what C means. Improvements could have been made. You're on the right route. I only say that because the Gaethje versus Fiziev was, it was good, but I don't know. It wasn't that. Like, it was, I think it would have been better if it was 5 rounds. 3 rounds fell a little short for that fight, because you could have told that Gaethje was just going to crease him in the next 2 rounds for sure. And then, Usman got, just dominated by the Edwards in that fight, even though there was like a back and forth in some moments. But, Usman just, Edwards got his number, man. Headshot, boom. You know the deal. So we leave March 18th and we go straight to UFC 287. There's no reason I don't know why we're struggling so much. It goes in sequential order. I just realized that. But we're going to UFC 287, Pereira versus Adesanya 2. Man. And at this moment, Pereira was riding high. And he was coming off that first Izzy win, and great, fantastic win for Pereira. And then, Izzy was looking to get vengeance. And this was looks like it was Miami, Florida, April 8th. And, Izzy just fucking shut the lights off. Just shut the lights off in the second round. And, she wrote what she wrote, man. It was a crazy finish. Although I was rooting for Pereira, I appreciate like the thrill of it, if that makes any sense. It was just a wild fucking fight. Like the way he finished them and then the celebration, just, and then mocking the kid, just, we have to see the next fight. We have to see them fight again. There's no way. Even like retirement fight, I would love that to be their retirement fight for both of them. Just for like, that could be the main event. That could be a main event. And then we had Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal and the undercard. That was a pretty good scrap. feel like Masvidal was a little bit hesitant in that one, but could just be my memory. Then we had Rob Font versus, I think that's Adrian Yanez. Let's see, Yanez. And then we had Kevin Holland. And then we had Rosas Jr. losing to Rodriguez. Yeah, I don't know. I think given that, the main event means so much for the UFC in terms of like right now Pereira is on like, the light heavyweight champ, if I'm not incorrect. And I don't know. I'm gonna give this a rating of a B. I'm gonna go with a B. Don't kill me. But the reason why I say it's a B is because other than the main event, man, nothing else really matters. Like, Masvidal really got just, he got schooled by Gilbert Burns, and, we really wanted to see more of a street fight. The cards clearly reflect that. It was 30-27, 30-27, 29-28. So, other than that, like Rob Font, man, Kevin Holland, he's trying to work his way back up. I believe as the year went by, he got better. Rosas Jr., way too green right now to like even be hyping him up, but keep an eye out for him. We'll see what's up. But yeah, man, that's why I think it's a B. So let's move right along to UFC 288. UFC 288. I gotta make sure this doesn't stop recording. So we have UFC 288. We have Sterling versus Cejudo in New York, and that was at the Prudential Center. And 48-47, 47-48, 48-47 by split decision. Aljamain keeps the title, and Henry Cejudo falls short for the third time. I feel like it was a competitive fight. It really was a competitive fight, but I think this was a fight for people who really like grappling and wrestling, and like to see how someone who's a really good grappler puts up against someone who's a really good wrestler. And then I had a little BJJ with Aljamain there. Not a little, he's actually he's great at it. But, the human backpack and all. But I feel like, other than that, that was a really good fight, clearly by the scorecards. It was a split decision. I don't know, Henry fell short right there, buddy. But Belal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns was the one that, was underneath that card. And again, looking back on this, man, these cards, I think I was hyped for that because of Gilbert Burns. I am never hyped to see Belal Muhammad fight. I don't like his style of wrestling. Like, it's not even fun to watch him ground and pound. That's just crazy. Then we had Andrade versus Xiaonan. I don't really remember that fight. We had Diego Lopez losing to Eloev, and I think Diego Lopez was pretty close to having some, getting some stoppages there, but homie edged it out. But Diego Lopez right now, what a run he's on. And then we had Kron Gracie getting fucking destroyed by Jourdain. That Canadian dude, just fucking, that's embarrassing for the Brazilians, I bet. Then Matt Frivola versus Dude Drober, and headlining the prelims. And then the early prelims, we had Porter versus Smith. I don't even know who that is, but I don't know. Belal Muhammad's win, it was a good win for him. He's still on that streak, but it's a Belal Muhammad fight. It's like, honestly, what Belal Muhammad fighting is like in the UFC? He's like the Shakur Stevenson of the UFC. It's like he gets cosigns by everyone, but he is so boring to watch. So because of that, because hell no. Because of Bilal Muhammad, we're gonna give this a C. No. Not because of Bilal's boring fights, but because I feel like other than that, it wasn't very deep. Like just, you know, a lot of promise. You know, if you like deep cards, this wasn't it. Diego Lopez, that fight was good, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like this gives me a feel of a C. This gives me a feel like a C. I think it needed a little more zazon because yeah, Bilal Muhammad fight. If you have a Bilal Muhammad fight, you need 2 more firefights underneath that. Just saying, and that wasn't it in this case. So given that and then that the main event, although competitive, was really more just like a high level MMA that lean heavy towards just a lot of grappling and all that jazz. I'm gonna put it at C. So call me whatever you want. Leave it in the comments. I'm not gonna read them. Ooh, man. After that, we had UFC 289. We're just gonna move forward from this. No, I'm just kidding. We had, actually, UFC 289 wasn't terrible. Wasn't terrible. You know what? Yeah, we'll see. UFC 289 was Nunes versus Aldana. Now, this was a good fight because, Aldana, she's a big woman and she could fight, and people were excited to see what she could do against a fighter of Nunes' caliber. And it ended up that this was Nunes' last fight, I believe. Let me double check that. And I believe this ended up being her last fight. Let's see. Yes, it ended up being her last fight. And, that was kind of shocking, I think, to me. I don't think I didn't expect that. Maybe people really didn't know. But I don't remember expecting that. But that was a good fight by the champ. She just wiped the floor with her. It was 50-44, 50-44, 50-43. Aldana looked very amateur-like. It wasn't a good performance by her, but to put it lightly. I mean, total strikes was 186-57. I mean, bro, Nunes was, Then after that, we had Beneil Dariush versus Charlie Olives. Now, I am also a Charlie Olives fan. Before you leave, hit that subscribe button. I know you probably had enough by now. But yeah, UFC 289 was Nunes versus Aldana. I think that with the Charlie Olives fight underneath that was a good fight. He stopped him in the first round by TKO. That was a really good fight. And then Mallet underneath that was a good performance by him. This was in Vancouver, so yeah, this was I think this deserves a, man, Charlie Olives fight. That's also a fire fight, bro. I think I'm gonna go B. And I want to say it's not because of the Charlie Olives. It's not only Charlie. It's not Nunes. It is that. But it is also Mallet. That was a really good fight. He put on a good performance. I like seeing him fight. And it was a fun card to watch. They were all pretty entertaining fights. But let's move right along from UFC 289 to UFC 290. And this was in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena, July 8th. The main event was Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez. And then we had Brandon Moreno versus Alex Pantoja underneath that. And then Robert Whittaker versus Duplessis. Then Jalen Turner versus Dan Hooker. Then Bo Nickel versus Woodburn. Bro, I think we have our first S tier. I think we do. Put the little celebrations in. Yeah, man, this was a fun card. This was an exciting card. Another great performance by Alexander Volkanovski, just defending that title, just like a real champ, And he ended up stopping Yair Rodriguez, who was red hot and was the interim champ at the moment, while Volkanovski, I believe, was taking care of Islam Makhachev. Not taking care of, but he went up there to challenge Islam Makhachev. And then Yair had a fight versus Josh Emmett for the interim belt. And then you have this, UFC 290. Maybe I'm wrong. Talk shit right down below. Or tell me, what do you think of this? Maybe you think I'm off. I don't know. Maybe we redo this again while I'm not under the influence. Wink, wink. But yeah, so then Brandon Moreno loses the belt to Alexander Pantoja. I think this was the third fight. They fought once in Tough, and then the Ultimate Fighter. Then they fought once in the UFC where Pantoja beat him, and then Brandon got cut. Check out the Brandon episode, bro, while we're talking about this. I got an episode on Brandon Moreno. Gotta plug myself. And then yeah, man, he ends up getting pieced up by Pantoja. It was a really good fight, though. That was a really good fight. And pieced up, I mean a war. It was a pretty good fight. They went back and forth, but I think Brandon Moreno kind of like stalled at the beginning a little bit. Pantoja really is good, and he has his number. And it was a split decision, 49-46, 47-48, 47-48. And then the main event was Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez, where Alexander Volkanovski just showed why he is the man at that division. The featherweight division's his. Like, it's crazy to think how many great fighters have gone through there, and it's even crazier to think that he's like ranking up there. But those are the top two. Then underneath those two, we had Robert Whittaker getting just fucking knocked out by DDP. It's fucking DDP, bro. Bro, how crazy was that? Like, I lost my shit. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Homie has like hammers for hands, and you could tell he hits hard because Robert Whittaker could fucking take a punch. I don't know. I'd be interested to know if Robert Whittaker probably needs to move up weight. He's really, you could tell he probably needs to cut weight. He's a big guy. He's all muscle, bro. I don't know. Even on the off season, he puts on maybe 15 pounds or something like that. You could check it out on his YouTube channel. And then Duplessis, I don't know how you say it. He just fucking shocked everyone and just fucking put those hammers to work. And bro, what? Then we still had Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker had a good fight against Turner. Turner, I feel like always falls short. Dan Hooker is starting to turn it around, so Dan Hooker's kind of been on the slide since the whole Islam fight and stuff, but starting to turn it around. And Bo Nickel had that 38-second fight. I thought that Woodburn fella would last a little longer, but nope. Bo Nickel put them big old hammers to work too. But interesting to see. I'd be interested to see if he really. Bo Nickel has like crazy power, bro, crazy power and like crazy wrestling. That's a wild combination to have. Usually a great combination. But UFC 290, I am going to put this at the S tier as promised, because that had marquee matchups, right? had names that people would recognize, and how can it not? Brandon Moreno, Volkanovski, Yair, Whitaker, and now DDP, like what? Bo Nickel, Robbie Lawler. I forgot about the Robbie Lawler. I believe that was his last fight in the prelims as well. I remember watching all of these. But yeah, man, S tier. Definitely S tier for UFC 290. Then after UFC 290, we're going to move right along. All right, so moving right along to UFC 291. You have Dustin Poirier versus Justin. Is it? No, Dustin. Que pendejo, güey. Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. My bad. I'm always disrespecting Dustin. I don't really want to, bro. I like Dustin. I admire him. He does stuff for his community. His hot sauce, I hear, is really good. Justin, on the other hand, I don't know, bro. He goes to that country over there with the Chechens. Sketchy fella, to say the least. But whatever. What a crazy fight, bro. What a crazy fight. Justin Gaethje just fucking lights out with that kick. Boom. Knocks him out. Great stoppage by Justin Gaethje. I mean, he lives up to his moniker, the highlight. But I still think he should be called the blender. Again, bro. Again, proving me right. Justin the Blender Gaethje. Better than the highlight. And underneath that, we had John Blachowicz, my bad. John Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. I thought it was like the matchup is good on paper, but the delivery was meh. I feel like John really didn't want to engage, and I don't blame him, right? Who wants to engage with Alex? You seen what happened a couple weeks ago. But he was talking about Polish power. He was talking about how he was going to knock him out and and this and that. People thought he had just lost out of Adesanya, so people thought he was chinny. And I think John probably thought he was chinny, and he thought maybe Alex was going to be a bit hesitant. But he didn't know that this man was just a dog. He's just a dog. And I don't think that the fight went as John had planned, or either fighter had planned, to be honest. They're both very exciting fighters, but I think in this fight, Alex was kind of trying to get his feet wet again and trying not to get knocked out against a certified fucking knockout artist. And then John just kind of failed to deliver there. I feel like he felt those kicks, and then he felt a little bit of that power, and he was like, whoa, hold up, let me take this to the floor, which he wasn't really able to do much, but it is what it is. Then we had Derek Lewis knocking out Lima in the first round. That was fucking crazy. And then Bobby Green, remember Bobby Green beat Tony Ferguson on that fight. Then Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa. We were talking about Kevin Holland turning it around. He beat Chiesa. I don't know, bro. I went to public school. He beat him in the first round by DR's choke. That was a good one. I think this was pretty good. I think this was a pretty good card. Overall, I thought entertainment-wise, I really like this card. They were all finishes. Finish, sub. Only one decision, and that was in the prelims. No, two decisions. That's not bad. I think for this, I am going to give him an A. I think that's fair, because nothing has really come from those fights. And, the co-main event kind of didn't really deliver. It was kind of like a stalemate almost. Although competitive, it really wasn't that entertaining. And then the rest of the other fights, they were kind of like fighters that they're not going to be headlining anytime soon, but they put on a show. So, I like it. But nonetheless, let's move right along from UFC 291. We're going to UFC 292. in Boston. This was a good one. How good? Let me remember. But UFC 292 was Aljamain Sterling again versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. O'Malley came in and just fucking rocked homie in the second round. 51 seconds, all she wrote. Total strikes between them was about 51. So not a lot of strikes because, you know, homie just put the lights out. That was a really good fight. I really like the build up to that fight. Maybe that's why I like that main event so much. Zhang Weili takes on Adriana Lemos, I believe that's her name. That was a good one too. Zhang Weili put on a good performance there. Neil Magny versus Ian Gary. That was a good fight too. It was a good scrap. Black Chenier versus Bautista. I don't really remember that. Chito Vera versus Munoz. That was a decent scrap too. Chris Weidman ended up losing. I don't know. Although like the main event, the rest of the fights were kind of just, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of any of those names, and I'm not necessarily a casual. Don't get me wrong. I watch all of these fights like a degenerate. But I am going to give them a B rating. That is right. Probably nobody's watching this. This is just me yelling in the microphone. No one watching this shit. This is just me yelling. My neighbors, nah, they don't think I'm weird. There's someone more weird than me in this one. Let's move it over here. Just so it looks nice and neat. Let's not. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B. It's not terrible. You know, maybe you could argue this could be a C, but I thought the main event was good. Zhang Weili, you know, she always puts on a show. I don't know. People don't like women's MMA, just like a running joke. But I thought it was good enough. It wasn't. Was it? I was Sterling Cejudo. You know what? No. That main event was good. That was a good knockout. That was McGregorous. Just because it's the main event alone, that goes to a B. Or else it would have been a C. That main event would have been stale. I think it would have been a C. But you know, given that the main event was so entertaining and just what a beautiful strike by Sean O'Malley, that, you know, you have to give it a B, I think. So we go from UFC 292 to UFC 293. This is Adesanya's fight after having knocked out Alex. Really emotional, draining fight. I'm just starting to repeat things now that I hear in like fucking promos and shit. But yeah, man, I thought that this was also a shocker. Strickland pitched lights out. And he just took Adesanya to like fucking like fight school for some reason. Like, it was so weird to watch. Like, you couldn't believe it. I don't know. I couldn't believe it. But that fight, I mean, what can you say? What the fuck can you say? Give me a second here, boss. I mean, what a crazy fight by Sean Strickland. No one expected that. And he just goes and like fucking just beats on him. I thought it was a crazy fight. Adesanya landed 94 total strikes, 94 significant strikes, 22 to the head, 38 to the body. In comparison, 85 to the head by Sean Strickland, 45 to the body. No takedowns, of course. No submission attempts for 5 rounds, which is fucking wild. But, you know, I really like that fight. We'll see where they go. Then we had Tai Tuivasa getting choked out by an Ezekiel choke by Alexander Volkov. That was a good fight too. I wanted Tai to win, but Tai's a little too reckless, and I think he's undersized for the type of fighters that are going into that division now. he doesn't seem to have Derek Lewis power, so he's in trouble now. So, he seems to be able to, he does have knockout power, don't get me wrong, but it's just, that's what's crazy about like heavyweights. You have Derek Lewis and then you still have Ty underneath that, I think. Ty's not too far behind him, but Alexander Volkov is hard, bro. See, he has experience, 37-10. Then Mkape, that's a little homie. He was going crazy at the press conference versus Dos Santos. That was a good fight. I thought that was a good fight. Tafa, that was also a good fight. KO. Pedro, also KO. Let's see what we got in the early prelims. I'm kind of between B and C. I'm not sure. It wasn't Sterling. Sterling versus Cejudo. You know what? I think this was a C in terms of like overall entertainment value. Just because the names underneath there were just meh. Tai Tuivasa. Where was this? This was in Sydney. Good crowd. You know what? This is a B. Sorry, this is a B. I remember now a little more. This is a B. I was hyped up for this fight. Sean Strickland talked a lot of shit, but yeah, I think if it wasn't for that fight, this is easily, it could even be a D. Watch out. It could easily be a D. So you know what? I think B is fair. We would all agree. B is fair now, right? If I told you this was going to be a D without that fight. So UFC 293. We go to UFC 294, October 21st. Just want to say right now, Caesar, you go eat a bag of dicks. That's that, ladies and gentlemen. But he knows who he is, bro. He knows who he is. Anyways, UFC 294. It was originally Charlie Olives versus Islam Makhachev, and then that ended up falling through when Charlie Olives got split open like a couple of days before the fight, maybe like 9 days or something crazy like that. And then not only that, and then the co-main event was Khamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa, and then Paulo Costa gets fucking a staph infection in his elbow and can't fight. So that was wild. And then Uncle Dana, just empties out the pockets and calls Alexander Volkanovski to fill in. And he comes into pretty much, they were both coming off good fights. I believe Islam was defending again, right? Islam this is Islam's first defense, but then Charlie fell through, of course. Sorry, that was my dog. And then we had Volkanovski, who earlier in the year had the fight of the year with him, and then successfully had defended against Yair, how we had spoken about, and what was that UFC S tier, UFC 290 earlier in the year. So, four main events ago, this man had just delivered one of the best UFC cards in the year by stopping Yair. And then you might just hear my dog, drinking water right now, because that's what he's gonna do right now. And I'm just gonna put that in there. But yeah, I think Islam Makhachev, great performance by him with the KO kick right to the temple in the first round, shocking everyone. 2 minutes in, stopped at the 3 minutes 6 mark. And then Uncle Dana also gets Kamaru Usman to come in a short notice to fight Chimaev in a fight where I thought it should have been a draw. I thought it should have been a draw. I don't think Chimaev won the first round, but he didn't do anything. He didn't really do anything. And I think Marty figured him out and then was able to, kind of figure his way. And I think he should stay in that division. I think he'd do well. I think he should stay there. But Chimaev ended up getting the nod, of course. 13-0 now. Good fight. Exciting fight to watch. Then we had Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. What a mess that was. Johnny Walker just... They asked him where he was at, when he got kneed illegally. And he said, the desert. Like, bro, just answer the question. And then after that, underneath that, we had Alves versus Aliskerov. And then Nurmagomedov versus Gafurov. I can't remember that fight. Then before that, in the prelims, we had Tim Elliott versus Mokaev. That was a good fight as long as it ended. Then, I watched the entire card. It was a decent card. In terms of all of them, let's see, decision, final. So all of them were finishes, no contest. No, because that was a no contest. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna say, damn, bro. Should I? No. For what it was, I think this will get a B. For sure it's a B. Because the Johnny Walker fight versus Ankalaev could have made this into a S, possibly a A, depending how that fight would have gone, but nothing happened from it. And then, the other fights, although they were finishes, they were just, they were good. You know what? Am I a little harsh on that? Am I a little harsh? There were finishes. And it started with the other homies. Finishes, decisions. Oh, Mark Brennan. You know what? This one, I think, because based on that alone, and that knockout, Jesus. I think this gets an A. I will reconsider that. I'll give it an A. Not S tier, but I'll give it an A. Just because the chaos and the names that they were able to bring in, although Volkanovski didn't have a full camp and he clearly looked a little softer than usual, I think. But yeah, man, I think A fits right. B felt a little wrong. A fits a little better. Now seeing that up there, I think that looks a little better. And then, yeah, man, I think that Usman-Chimaev fight, that was a good fight. It was a good scrap. I think I would have been happy with the draw, but I'm not upset about the Chimaev fight, the Chimaev win. He completely dominated, although Usman wasn't necessarily struggling like that versus Chimaev. Usman is strong, but, I think 5 rounds would have been better, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think overall, top to bottom, I think this was a pretty good card. So I'm gonna give it an A, and that sounds about right. That feels right to me. Then let's see, last but not least, we have UFC 295, Jiri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. This was just a couple weeks ago. What was this? Not even a couple weeks ago, bro. It was November 11th. It's a fucking week ago. Sheesh. Yeah, so Alex Pereira stops Jerry. They have it here. Second round, 408 by elbows. This is right. But what a crazy. Remember early in the year we had where is this we had Adesanya Pereira 2 at UFC 287, and then you have and then you have Pereira going to fight Jan Blachowicz, where Jan Blachowicz, I'm sorry, and then he ends up fighting him, and then gets an okay fight out of that. But then because Jamal Hill got injured and ended up vacating, there was an opportunity for Alex Pereira to fight Jiri, who had been returning from also an injury a year later. And great storyline. Jiri had beaten Glover, so I thought that was a good detail in the storyline as well. And then Alex fucking just stops homie. Just Alex Pereira video coming soon, just so you know. So we have possibly the Leon Edwards video, Alex Pereira video. You see, we're going UFC heavy now. We're going UFC heavy, baby. Because, I'm going to make a boxing video. I'll speak about this later. Then we had Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall, where we have John Jones and Miocic not make the fight because John Jones tore his pectoral muscle, I believe, or something like that. Had to get surgery. And then Miocic, I believe, was not offered the fight because it looks like Dana wants to keep Jones versus Miocic alive, which I'm okay with, I guess, because they're going to retire. But I guess once that's done with, they retire and they make Aspinall the champ for real. And bro, first round KO. How crazy is that? Just baby, done. Woo, good fight. Then Andrade also stops Mackenzie down. Though. Not looking good. Then Matt Frevola versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Bro. Homie with the kick. Ain't he special forces? I feel like we're going to see a lot of this guy. I want to see him against Gaethje. That'd be wild. But I don't think we'll see that soon unless he keeps it up, knocking people out like that. Then Diego Lopez, knocks out Pat Sabatini. And then early prelims, Herzog versus Costa. Herzog kind of wanted to survive because Costa was putting it on him. Then we had Richie versus Godinez. That was also a decent scrap. Jared Gordon headlining the early prelims against Marco Madsen, the Olympian. This is not a good nickname, I don't think. Mark. What could we give a nickname for Mark? I don't know. He looks like a super soldier. He looks like the Olympian, but he looks such a Olympian, like the Olympian. I know it's him, but at the same time, he fits that so perfectly that you can mock it. So I think that the super soldier or something like that would be a little better. But I don't know. That's just me. And then Jared Gordon gets that finish, bro. He used to shoot drugs underneath the fucking Madison Square Garden. And that was a good fight. That was a good entertaining fight. Let's see. The two main events were good. I mean, the Alex one was good, bro. I think. What y'all think? How many people are yelling right now? How many people are yelling? Nah, we're gonna go here. I think we're gonna go here. Hold on. Let's leave this right here. Let me double check. So we had Jerry Pereira, Tom Aspinall, Andrade Mackenzie down. You know what? I think this is gonna go in A. Yeah. No, you know what, man? Because it was a it was like a late fill-in for the Tom Aspinall versus Pavlovich. I'm kind of on the fence. A doesn't feel right though. I feel like it'd be between these two, but I think S feels more comfortable because I think people are now realizing what Alex Pereira did was special. I think this fight is gonna age like fine wine. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I feel good with this. I don't know about you guys. I really don't know about you guys. But I feel good with this. Hold on, give me a second. I feel like, I don't know. What would I change from that? I don't think it would change much, man. I think this here was kind of represented there. You can see two in the S tier. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 in the A tier. We had 5 in the B tier and 2 in the C tier. No D's, no E's, no terrible cards. Maybe some could be argued, but I feel like the main events were good enough where they really delivered in terms of like storylines, in terms of entertainment value. All of those main events either were really good competitive wise or had some sort of significance. So I think that's why we see everything between A and B, but the reason for no more S tiers is because I don't think they were deep. I don't think there were deep cards. I don't think there was enough depth there. But let me know what you guys think. That's the end of this episode. If you like this type of content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Like and comment. Let me know what you didn't like, and what you do like, or let me know what you think, man. Maybe you think one of these was a D and an E. I don't know. Let me know. Peace.